Good morning and welcome to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Glad to have you aboard. Here it is, Tuesday, the 13th day of June. Wow, almost halfway through the month of June. We have lots of shower activity that's coming our way here the entire week. We're talking about some severe showers this afternoon here in the Savannah area. Hope it's nicer where you are.
Yes, agreed. And tomorrow is Flag Day. So
Yeah,
that's exciting.
it is.
Make sure you put out your flags.
And the birthday of the U.S. Army. So
and
it's
actually President Trump's birthday tomorrow.
Oh well, it's a trifecta.
There you go.
Speaking of President Trump being persecuted once again, and he's down in Miami now, getting ready to go to court today to plead not guilty to trumped up charges, shall we say, pun intended. This is unbelievable.
People are exhausted by this.
Yeah, we're giving banana republics a good name.
Well, and I just am not really sure. I think what their game plan is they're trying to push people away from Trump because he's being indicted and
Exactly.
Here. The thing is if he gets indicted in Miami, I think his jury, he has a pretty good shot down there.
Mm-hmm.
However, once he's indicted in a place like D.C., he's probably in really big trouble.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's the big issue that I see with this. And I just... What are we doing?
Well, we're destroying America is what we're doing, and that's why they want to keep Trump out of office again, because he was helping restore it, and it was remarkable what he did in the 4 years while he was still battling not only the Democratans or the communists, but I repeat myself, and also his own party in many cases, and the media. Again, I repeat myself. Nevertheless, it is disgusting what is going on right now, and what's worse is that he's not getting the protection that he deserves either, because they say they're ready for this. They've got all this other stuff, but he does have Secret Service protection as everybody else, but he does not have the protection that he needs in case there's any kind of breakout. I hope there's not going to be any. There'll be demonstrations, of course. I hope that it won't get out of hand, but no guarantee on that. At the same time, they don't want him to look presidential, so therefore he's not getting all of the press, all of the coverage that he needs for protection, and not that they hope that he gets shot or killed or anything like that, but it is just pathetic what they're going through with this administration that is trying to destroy their opponent.
Well, and I think that's why it's so unprecedented, and everything that's happening is happening in conjunction with all of the findings that are coming out about Joe Biden. And actually, we all knew. It's not like anyone that is a top 1%er following the news. We knew this as soon as the Ukrainian call happened.
Yeah.
You see the video of Joe Biden saying, if you don't do this, we're going to withhold the money. You need to fire that prosecutor. And lo and behold, he's on video saying this. We knew that he did that, which I believe would be referred to as a quid pro quo.
I believe it. Quid pro quo. I think that's the proper term. Yeah.
Yeah. We've heard that for 4 years.
Yeah, we sure did. Meanwhile, there is some breaking news this morning, and our prayers are going to go with. So far, they've not listed any fatalities, but there was apparently a helicopter accident in the Middle East somewhere. I believe it was Syria. 22 of our U.S. soldiers were injured in that. They say no fatalities, and they said it was not due to enemy fire. But we'll just have to wait to see. But I can understand that we don't have as good. Our equipment is not as good as it used to be. Because we gave a lot of it to the Afghans when we left, but also trying to maintain all of this stuff now with as few troops as we have. Recruiting down for the Army, they will miss their recruiting goal by 25% this year. But it doesn't have anything to do with how much they are appreciating Pride Month.
Or the fact that they're teaching everyone to hate America.
Yeah.
I mean, why would you die for a country that, number one, treats its citizens the way that it is, and also the way that, they're treating, like you said, Pride Month, drag queen.
And when they come into service, some of them have to lose 25 pounds to get in the uniform.
Yeah, that's also quite a problem. Our friend Lizzie's with us this morning, and she said no conservative should ever travel to D.C. or New York. Don't blame you for saying that. Proudly saying, fire the prosecutor. Yes, famous words from Joe Biden. And training for troops is greatly reduced. We used to see and hear planes and helicopters flying all the time. It's a rare event these days. So
Yeah, it is.
kind of crazy. But I will say, everyone that's talked to Trump says that he is in good spirits, which I think is interesting. They are
He
probably...
always is, for the most part.
Yeah, well, they are fueling the fire, I think. I think that Trump kind of thrives off of this kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's competitive for him in kind of a twisted way, but
Well, yeah, he loves it. The Art of the Deal, one of his
Yeah.
books, was talking about the negotiations. He said that's the fun stuff.
yes. So, he did release a video, and I love the way that he does his videos because they're very well done, Hollywood style quality, and I think that he's good at telling a story in his campaign videos.
Yeah, and here's one of them.
What really matters is not which party controls our government, but whether our government is controlled by the people. For too long, a small group in our nation's capital has reaped the rewards of government while the people have borne the cost. The establishment protected itself, but not the citizens of our country. That all changes starting right here and right now.
One thing, I don't know why. It doesn't even matter how hard you try. Keep that in mind and design this rhyme to explain it through time. All I know, time is a valuable thing. Watch it fly by as the pendulum swings. Watch it count down to the end of the day. The clock takes life away. It's so unreal. Didn't look out below. Watch the time go right out the window. Trying to hold on, but you didn't even know. One second, now just to watch you go. I kept everything inside, and even though I tried, it all fell apart. What it meant to me will eventually be a memory of a time when I tried so hard.
Wow, powerful stuff.
I'm looking forward to the 2024 cycle, although I will tell you that the DeSantis campaign, I think, made an error. They released, they used AI images, and they were AI images of Fauci and Trump hugging and things like that, but they were not real. But they put the real Donald Trump on them and did not disclose that they were AI generated images. This is dirty behavior, and this is what people are sick of. They don't want to be lied to. That's why people don't trust the media. And DeSantis, this happened on June 5th. They have still not retracted. They have still not done anything about it. And I will tell you, the people working for DeSantis, I don't think are advising him very well on what he should be doing, because he also should be coming out very strongly against what's happening in Miami.
Yeah, he should be. In fact, all the candidate Vivek Ramaswamy
always does that.
is leading the charge on that. And where are the Republicans? Here the Democrats circle the wagons and stand up for these idiots on their side. Where are the Republicans?
Well, what you see happening is people moving away from Trump And it's because of whatever deals they have going on. I'm sorry. I just think that these people are evil. I think they're corrupt. And, that's on both sides. I don't think it's just Democrats. I think Republicans are included.
But this doesn't have anything to do with Trump per se. It is what is happening to the republic, to the Constitution, to our rule of law. We established this country on a system of laws. When you have a double standard, when you have Donald Trump being impeached twice for fabricated stories, stuff that was just truly, absolutely made up out of whole cloth. But you have the Hildebeest destroying evidence. And the FBI director coming out at the time, James Comey, saying that who was it then? Was it? Have I got the name right? But he was up there saying that no reasonable prosecutor should prosecute anybody. Well, first of all, it wasn't his call, and secondly, my reaction was, well, let's get an unreasonable prosecutor. Because she was destroying evidence that was actually requested by Congress. That's supposed to be against the federal law. She should be in Leavenworth. She should be under Leavenworth. And so should the Dalai Lama, as well as Joe Biden right now. And fortunately, we had some breaking news yesterday that was quite interesting when Senator Grassley from Iowa got up and said that we have now 17 tapes that were done by the Ukrainian operative saying because he made those tapes in order to protect himself of Joe Biden's negotiations and him taking the $5 million bribe along with his son, who got another $5 million.
Yep, yeah. And they knew about it, and
exactly.
We have a small clip of that 10-minute video of him going through.
Just some of the items here. Senator Grassley from Iowa.
Yep.
As we go to, let's see,
Clip 8.
Number 8.
Let me assist for the purposes of more transparency on this subject. The 1023 produced to the House committees redacted reference that the foreign national who allegedly bribed Joe and Hunter Biden allegedly has audio recordings of his conversation with them. 17 such recordings. According to the 1023, the foreign national possesses 15 audio recordings of phone calls between him and Hunter Biden. According to the 1023, the foreign national possesses 2 audio recordings of phone calls between him and then Vice President Joe Biden. These recordings were allegedly kept as a sort of insurance policy for the foreign national in case that he got into a tight spot. The 1023 also indicates that then Vice President Joe Biden may have been involved in bereavement employing Hunter Biden. Based on the facts known to the Congress and the public, it's clear that the Justice Department, the FBI, haven't nearly had the same laser focus on the Biden family. Special Counsel Jack Smith has used a recording against former President Trump. Well, what is U.S. Attorney Weiss doing with respect to these alleged Joe and Hunter Biden recordings that are apparently relevant to the high-stakes bribery scheme?
There is so much information in these documents.
Whoa.
And what's interesting is the FBI redacted that portion of what they released to the House originally. So, but yeah.
They've known about this for some time, and they have sat on it.
Well, they knew about it when the whole impeachment hoax was going on. They knew about it, and they've allowed, let's just get down to brass tacks. They've allowed the country to spend money on this bogus crap for 7 years. This is ridiculous. It's probably cost us millions, if not billions of dollars for them chasing Donald Trump.
Yeah, and how much is it costing now for this persecution? It's not a prosecution. This is a persecution.
You're correct. We have some friends with us today. Mary Hybreeder, the Uniparty doesn't believe in the U.S. Constitution. Lizzie says Hillary introduced the country to BleachBit. and Nixon was brought down by a missing few seconds.
Yeah.
Regarding our mainstream media, they employ the see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil regarding Biden, and then knew they probably colluded. You're probably right. There's probably a lot of action from the government, within the government, helping do all these investigations and create all of this narrative that we hear.
With a willful media that is run strictly by the Democrats, if you notice that if you go back and look at some of the main anchors and the biggest, most highly paid news people in this country, all have a Democrat background. George stuffing envelopes, for example, at the Arab Broadcasting Company, was President Clinton's main
Press
guy.
secretary, yep.
Yeah.
Well, and you also look at Tucker Carlson. He was originally a CNN guy, and what they're doing to him now, they're trying to put golden handcuffs on him and say, guess what? You can't speak out. You can't do anything on Twitter. It'll be interesting to see how this goes, because they did issue a cease and assist to Tucker Carlson for releasing a video on Twitter. And I think that if Tucker says, okay, let's go to court, let's do discovery, I think Fox will have a lot of skeletons come out of their closet.
Yeah, boy. As Ricky used to say, Lucy, you got a lot of splaining to do.
So I think that Fox is in a really interesting position to be sending a cease and assist order, and I don't think Tucker Carlson is one to back down. So it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out.
Yeah, it is. All right, coming up next.
Oh, the Pride Month. Here it is.
Yeah, sure
Hit the
is.
White House.
Sure, hit the White House, hit the Pentagon. Your military at work. You're At Get Real America, we are focused on Savannah, but we'd like to hear from other communities as well. We have a lot in common.
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934, with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance. With integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
Come join us today at Sweet Potatoes Kitchen for some of that good Southern home cooking, like fried chicken, fish, and mouth-watering banana pudding. Say it's the best in the world, and you won't get an argument from me. Also, those vegetables are fresh and delicious. Voted Southside's best restaurant in Savannah at least 5 times, and large corporate parties are welcome. Tell them Bill Edwards sent you. Drop by and eat today. Everybody loves sweet potatoes.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Glad to have you aboard on this Tuesday morning, and there's more where that came from. Yes, sirree. Are you proud to be an American? Well, the military certainly is.
Yes, and before we get to that, just finishing up our last topic about what they are doing in the government. And with this release of all this stuff on Biden, of course, they're going after a lot of this independent media that really reports on a lot of this stuff. The Post Millennial, Human Events Daily, which is Jack Posobiec, and even Dan Bongino's website. So Jack Posobiec was on a podcast yesterday talking about what happened.
Posobiec?
Been a minute, Tim. It's been a minute. Jack Posobiec, the host of Human Events, senior editor of a website that no one can get to because we are currently under what I am told by my tech guys, a deliberate attempt to take down humanevents.com. Also, prior Navy intelligence officer, and I think we might be talking about a little bit of how intelligence reporting works today.
It seems like the attack on Human Events, Post Millennial, Bongino Report, a couple other websites, may be related to this GOP report about Biden, these secret recordings.
So what I'm told, and I'm just looking because we're in, in our highly secured, highly super secret group chat here, that basically the minute we published the report from this, and so people understand this is an FBI informant file that Grassley read on the floor of the Senate. And when you, and Tim, I know you know this, that when a sitting member of Congress or the Senate reads out something, even if it's classified, they cannot be prosecuted for releasing that because they're doing so on the floor of the Senate. He uses his ability to do that as a senator to come out and say that there are 15 recordings with Hunter Biden and 2 of Joe Biden when he was the vice president describing all this. Long story short, we put out the article summarizing all of that. The whole site goes down and so Human Events owns Post Millennial. Human Events goes down, Post Millennial goes down. We're also told Bongino Report is going down. Some of these are coming up. There's a few other sites.
We tried pulling up
down.
DC Inquirer. It's been up and down.
That's been up and down, and Bongino Report's down. But we'll get into all this.
And I'm not going to say the name, but I will say that we are not on Amazon web servers. So this is not Amazon.
Wow, pretty incredible, Bill.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, it can't be a coincidence that all of those websites went down yesterday.
Really?
Yeah, it can't be a coincidence. I do believe that they are back up. It took several hours for them to get those back up and running. Mary says Tucker probably signed a non-compete clause. This usually pertains to other news networks and shouldn't encompass social media. I agree with you.
Exactly.
And then Lizzie says anyone who accused Trump of unbecoming presidential behavior needs to watch the White House Pride video and try to defend it. We actually do have that video, Lizzie.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we're going to get that to in a minute. And let me recommend something to you right now because it all, if you're not familiar with Jesse Kelly, he is a radio talk show host, but he's a Marine. He was a Marine, and he is a talk show host. You can hear him on WOR in New York from 6 until 9 every night. You can get WOR on your phone. Just go to your search engine and type in WOR, and it will come up. But he has written a book, and he pulls no punches, none. He does not gild the lily. And here is his book, The Anti-Communist Manifesto. It is already selling through the roof, off the shelves, and it was actually prominently displayed at Barnes & Noble.
Wow, that's
impressive. I found over the weekend. But this is the book, The Anti-Communist Manifesto. And he tells it like it is. I love the dedication in there. It's to me. So he said this is his first book. He was always railing against against communists. And one of his friends said, well, you ought to write a book about it. We said, well, here it is. But from the first line of the introduction, it said, communism is an evil, demonic religion. It has infected America to its bones. It will tear this nation apart if not driven from our shores. And he's not kidding. And he gives prime example after prime example. The Anti-Communist Manifesto, cannot recommend it more highly. I've only read a couple of chapters so far, and it is as frightening as it is educational.
Oh, yeah. It's kind of scary to think about, Bill. And I will tell you that I have never been more disgusted with what's going on with Pride Month. I think that they have gotten way out of hand. It used to be for them to,
give these disgusting parades and
it didn't used to be like that, though. I mean, 20 years ago, you never would have saw stuff like this. But now it's become grotesque. People that take their children to this, I don't understand it.
If you're taking your children to one of these things, then a pox on both your houses.
Well, I mean, I think it's also, if you're invited to the White House to a Pride event, watch yourself because let's take a look at what they had going on there yesterday.
Yeah, this is amazing.
Clip 16.
And there's another part of our community that I hope will be resilient, and that's drag performers. Drag isn't dangerous, it's entertainment. If you're a fan, I say tip your local drag queen. If you're not a fan, don't go. But don't deprive us of the opportunity to enjoy something that is part of LGBTQ culture, and really at this point, part of American culture.
So
part
that was
of
actually
American culture?
Yeah, and that was actually at the Pentagon. I don't know if you saw the little symbol in the right-hand side, but yep, that was the Pentagon talking about how,
They had all these
Drag shows are great.
Yeah, they had all these trans military officers at a press conference yesterday saying how wonderful it is and how it helps the military and improves morale and how much better fighting force they are because of it. Really? How come the Army right now is going to miss 25% of its recruiting goal this year? 25%. Just the Army. And the other services aren't doing any better. The Navy even came out with one of these Pride thing showing all these drag queen events on board ships and things of that nature that is just pathetic.
Well, and Bill, I think the big issue is that they're making a mockery of what we are. When you look at what China's doing, they're teaching them how to actually fight wars.
Yeah. You could look at and the Russians as well. They may not be very motivated when the Ukrainians finally ask some of these Russian soldiers, "Why are you doing this?" and they said, "We don't know."
Well, and Lizzie says, Bill, better doesn't mean what you think it does. They've probably changed the definition, Bill.
Well,
That's probably what they always do.
They always change. They always change the definitions of things. Just like at Stanford, that have come up with it. You can't say field anymore.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Because that's racist.
Well, how do you take these people seriously?
I know. Well, I've come up with a name for Stanford. Stupid.
Yep. Agreed.
Stupid university.
Well, that's the thing.
Trying to make the rest of your kids stupid.
Well, I think that's the thing. If you have children, like sending them to college is almost a joke now.
Oh, yeah.
And it's really sad because you have a lot of kids that just graduated and they're excited to go to college. But, and Lizzie says everyone needs to at least read the first half of 1984. We are living it.
Yeah, for sure.
And then
he didn't miss it by much.
No. And Steve Stanton says, I feel like I'm being waterboarded with the left's agenda. I feel the same way. I feel like I'm I feel like I'm starting to drown from it, honestly.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
So we got that video from the White House yesterday?
Yes, we should have that video.
Yeah, so take a look at this and just see what's going on. Your tax dollars at work and the cretins that show up for this crap.
Welcome to the White House.
Thank you.
Happy Pride Month. Happy Pride Year. Happy Pride Life.
Yeah!
Transgender children.
You are beautiful.
You are heard.
You belong.
You are understood.
You are loved.
And you belong. Some of the bravest and most inspiring people I've ever known. And
you're welcome.
Good folks.
Can we take a little video? Hi, Mr. President. It is an honor. Trans rights are human rights. Oh, it's a video. Oh, it's a video.
The monument's in the back, right?
Gay news.
Are we topless at the White House?
I literally get sick to my stomach watching stuff like that because I think it's disgusting.
Glad I haven't had breakfast.
Yeah. And it's interesting. I think didn't Joe Biden say they needed to bring decency back to the White House?
Decency. Really good stuff. That's really decent, Mr. President.
Yep.
And of course, he doesn't know where he is.
No, he doesn't.
Doesn't know what day it is.
Yeah, that's what.
His Farina this morning, and that must have taken place after 10 o'clock because he didn't have any meetings before then.
I think they had a lid on it after that as well. He had a tooth issue.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, so he had to. I don't know. Yeah, they didn't give very many details on that. But Lizzie says so much for Mr. Decency. And Mary says it is classic Marxism. They changed the definition of many words. Mm-hmm. And Lizzie says, bravest, this required more courage than crossing the wide beach at Normandy while being raked with machine gunfire. Yeah, I don't think that this president has any idea where he is or any clue what bravery is.
Exactly. And just the great meme that was sent out to me just last week that said it had a picture of D-Day in Normandy and these guys storming the beach, and then it had people out celebrating at a beach party like a 4th of July or something like Memorial Day weekend, and it said, their day at the beach allowed you to have your day at the beach. We'll be right back. Get Real America, we want to make sure that the real story gets out, and you can help us as a sponsor or as an advertiser to make sure that that word does get out to the community.
Be a sponsor and support your local community here at Get Real America.
When I grow up, I want to work for a woke company, like super woke.
When I grow up,
I want to be hired based on what I look like.
rather than my skills,
I want to be judged
By my political beliefs. I want to get promoted
based on my chromosomes,
when I grow up.
I want to be offended
by my coworkers
and walk around the office
on eggshells
and have my words policed
by HR. Words like
grandfather,
peanut gallery,
Long time no see.
no can do.
When I grow up,
I want to be obsessed with emotional safety and do workplace sensitivity training all day long. When I grow up, I want to climb the corporate ladder.
just by following the crowd.
I want to be a conformist. I want to weaponize my pronouns. What are pronouns?
It's time to grow up and get back to work. Introducing the #1 woke-free job board in America, redballoon.work.
I don't think it's an accident that I ended up writing music for a living, because I think I lived in a house where I saw how deeply it affected everyone in the house. And just how much everyone defined themselves by the music they listened to.
Music as a framework, I think, gave my parents my identity from a young age. You can like any music that you want if it makes you feel happy. And now when I hear certain songs, I think of them, and I think of them in their happiest state, and it makes me happy.
If they seem like they're having trouble talking about something, I try to tell them about a time when I felt something similar.
Whatever the issue was, we would tell them the pros and cons and how important it was that they had come to us because we could always help them. I think the real important point, we always told them, no matter what you do, no matter what happens, we will help you through it no matter what it is.
Come join us today at Sweet Potatoes Kitchen for some of that good Southern home cooking, like fried chicken, fish, and mouth-watering banana pudding. Say it's the best in the world, and you won't get an argument from me. Also, those vegetables are fresh and delicious. Voted Southside's best restaurant in Savannah at least 5 times, and large corporate parties are welcome. Tell them Bill Edwards sent you. Drop by and eat today. Everybody loves sweet potatoes.
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934, with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance. With integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
I want to congratulate the Denver Nuggets for winning the NBA championship. Apparently one of the ways that some of these people like to celebrate is with gunfire. 9 people were injured in gunfire. One is in critical condition after the Nuggets won the championship last night. First time in 47 years, 94-89 victory over the Miami Heat in Game 5.
Yeah, I quit watching sports. I'm not going to lie about it. I didn't even know the Nuggets were in the running. They've never, I'm from Utah. Utah Jazz have always made it to the playoffs, but they always manage to screw it up. That's kind of their MO. So.
Kind of like the Atlanta Falcons. Yeah, boy. Yes, sirree. Yes. To blow as big a lead as they had over the New England Patriots a few years ago in the Super Bowl is just amazing.
Some teams just weren't meant for greatness.
Yeah. So, but at any rate, but here they are, and people out there celebrating, and 9 people get shot. It's just this is the defund the police movement, the Me Too movement, and all other things have led to. This is disgusting.
Well, Bill, the other thing there's so much going on, and we're getting hit at every angle. We just watched all the Pride stuff, at the White House, the Pentagon. We see it. I mean, if you are on any sort of social media, you're seeing clips of this inappropriate behavior everywhere. And then we have, the crime that's happening, the violence, the people stealing from stores closing.
And the people who try to stop it are the ones who get either arrested or fired for doing their job.
Yes. Well, and then, so here, that's all the cultural stuff, right? And then you look at what's going on. No one's talking about this, but they just recommended that U.S. citizens get out of Taiwan. Mm-hmm. That's a huge story. No one is talking about it.
Yeah, I wonder why.
It makes you wonder, and it makes you wonder who could be in cahoots with the Chinese.
Well, maybe, I don't know, maybe it was General Milley. Remember, he was the one that called up his counterpart in China, said, if the president launches any kind of a strike, I'm going to call and tell you about it.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
I'll let you know.
If I would have had his 4-star, I would have busted him so low he'd have had to salute civilians. So you can hand in your 4 stars, and you can forget about your pension too, General.
Yeah, I think that this is a huge problem, but we're being distracted with all this cultural stuff.
He's still the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
That tells you all you need to know, doesn't it? He was always working for the other side, which I think is a huge issue. I do know that there. I think that there are only, I think it's 32 or 37 4-star generals to choose from. So I
got a list.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And in fact, a former commander of the 3rd Infantry Division, Tony Kukalo, did not get his 3rd star, which he should have when he left here. That's usually an automatic. His three predecessors prior to that got their 3rd star. Many of them got their 4th, and he didn't get his, and had to finally retire as a major general, which ain't bad. But at the same time, he should have been lieutenant general and then on to general. But he locked up a few heels of these women who got pregnant in combat to get out of the combat duty, and he raked them over the coals and gave them all sorts of disciplinary action. And when Congress found out about it, the Dianne Feinsteins and Barbara Boxer at the time found out about it. Were on the Armed Services Committee, made sure he did not get a promotion. But I would like him to be chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Damn fine officer. What a disgrace.
Yeah, the thing is just the way that when you get to the top ranking in the government and in the military, it's concerning to me that things get so political. And we've seen that, and I think that that's been part of the demise of the U.S., honestly.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. My son served about a little over 12 years, I think, in the military. I was hoping he was going to stay in until he got qualified for retirement. At least 20. You have to be in 20 years. But he got out because he got passed over for promotion several times. But he got up to staff sergeant, which is 3 stripes up, 1 down, and we call it a rocker. Well, 3 up and a rocker. And he should have been platoon sergeant and master sergeant by the time he got out. With all of his experience, all of his reports that you get a report every year from your commanding officers. All of his reports said this is the finest NCO I have ever worked with, to a person. And yet he was passed over for promotion 3 times. After the 3rd time, he said, "I'm leaving." But many times we tried to. Said, your officer material, go to OCS and get commissioned. And he said, I'd rather be an NCO because there's too much political stuff going on with officers.
Yep, that sounds about right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Our friend Lizzie says the military, it's not only an enlistment problem, it's also retention. And she's right.
Yeah. And case in point, passed over 3 times for promotion when he's got these sterling reports from his officers, from his commanders saying this is the finest NCO I have ever worked with.
Let me guess, they were looking for checkmark boxes.
I must have, yeah. I'm sorry, he's
that's how that works.
Yeah, he was white.
And Steve Stanton says, we serve God who will not be mocked. And that's in regard to the Pride stuff we just saw in the last segment.
Yeah. Meanwhile,
well, Gavin Newsom, I'm sorry, I think they're going to roll him out as a presidential candidate. They definitely are not going to let RFK take on the Democratic spot. So I think that Gavin Newsom is going to be their guy.
Yeah. He was on with Sean Hannity last night on the Fox News channel. He's going to have more of it on tonight at 9 o'clock on Fox. But here's a portion of how it went last night.
CHIPS Act, Science Act, do you oppose that?
I will tell you on every measure, from the economy, inflation, borders, energy, national security, he's missing in action.
Let's talk about them in order. Let's
hang on.
Wait, but I want to challenge the premise. You said the economy, 13.1 million jobs he's created. More.
These are post-COVID jobs.
Okay.
You know that.
Well,
I mean, that's an artificial number.
No. Then let me stipulate this as an opportunity to engage civilly on this.
Okay.
Fair point. Your president, Donald Trump, lost 2.6 million jobs during his 4 years. We've created 13.1 million. Fine, you can maintain a COVID frame. How about the fact that Joe Biden's created more jobs, 6 times more jobs than the previous 3 Republican presidents combined?
Are you going to tell me
Sean,
that the average family, where we have 2/3 of Americans now living paycheck to paycheck,
it was 70% under Trump? That was 70%. It was 70% under Donald Trump.
Pre-COVID, we had the lowest unemployment rate for every demographic.
We have the lowest black unemployment in history, and you and I are living with the lowest unemployment in our lifetime, Sean.
We had it for every demographic, and the economy was
black unemployment's record low under Joe Biden.
Okay. We had historic low after historic low under Donald Trump.
Donald Trump. I mean, but he's cleaned Trump's clock, Biden, in terms of the progress in job creation. Look at what he's done on jobs.
What would you grade?
Lower than job creation. First of all, if somebody loses their job or can't go back to their and then goes back to their job afterward, that's not creating a job.
No, and all I could sit here and say to you during that whole thing is he's such a liar.
Yeah.
That's not how that works. He's lying with statistics.
Yeah. And so they have that. But the fact is that when you go back to that job, it's not created. It was already there. They just went back and refilled it. It's not creating a job. And why is it that inflation was less than 2%? Under Donald Trump, and it's now approaching double figures.
Well, Gavin Newsom says that's a worldwide problem. That has nothing to do with Joe Biden.
Oh, horse manure. You know how we'd cut it in half right now? Open the spigot. Start going after our own oil. In case you don't know, everything that's delivered to your grocery store or your drugstore or anything else is usually delivered by a truck that runs on diesel fuel, that came to that truck via train that runs on diesel fuel.
Yeah, and Mary Highreader says Gavin will take away children from parents that don't believe in gender affirmation, which would be a nightmare if he ends up as president.
Let's take away your guns too. He wants He wants the 28th Amendment now.
Yes, and bring in the illegals.
Yeah,
love it. And then Steve Statton says Hannity is way too weak to take him on. I agree. I do think that Newsom took Hannity to the cleaners. I don't think that was a good matchup.
Yep.
That should have been a Tucker Carlson interview, but we know what happened there. So
yeah, for real.
And then Steve Statton says, can't stand Fox. They've lost their way. I will say, ever since Tucker has been let go, they have definitely been on the narrative train and been trying to sell a couple things that I don't think American people buy anymore. But I do think that there's a serious issue at Fox.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And notice that Anheuser-Busch is doing a lot more advertising these days. Gee, I wonder why.
Yeah.
Wow.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
And then still waiting on Biden and Kamala to practice what they preach, RE climate change. They need to do Zoom meetings. That's true.
Yeah, for real. So.
Oh, more to talk about when we get back.
Yeah, there is. So we'll try to cheer you up on something.
Who is a kid? Well, that's a kid. And another. Look, a gaggle of them. Or is it a herd? Litter? Pride. But what about her? Tell her she's not a kid. Or him. So how do we tell who is a kid? Height? Age, maybe. But some of us have to grow up faster than others. A kid. A kid wants to make the world better. And one day, he just might. Is a kid fearless? Vulnerable? Strong? Nervous? Yes. 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 Kiwanis is 600,000 kids at heart doing all the little and big things it takes to help children around the world. Because kids need Kiwanis. All of them.
Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah, the beauty of the world. Savannah, let's all take a ride. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah.
When you're looking to buy a business or sell a business, the experts at Best Business Brokers have you covered. Whether you're ready to cash in on your years of hard work or you're taking that first step in buying a business of your own, they're here to guide you through the process and make sure you get the best outcome possible. By having Best Business Brokers assist you when you buy a business or sell a business, they handle the legwork of the intricate process. This ensures a smooth transition of ownership, allowing you to get to work immediately or receive payment for your business as soon as possible. With base operations in Savannah and Charleston, they service all of Georgia and South Carolina. If you're considering starting a business here, the mild winters and 5-tiered economic areas make these the perfect places to do so. If you're ready to buy a business or sell a business, then you're ready to contact Best Business Brokers. Visit their website at b3brokers.com or call at 912-349-0940.
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934, with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance, with integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
Come join us today at Sweet Potatoes Kitchen for some of that good Southern home cooking, like fried chicken, fish, and mouth-watering banana pudding. Say it's the best in the world, and you won't get an argument from me. Also, those vegetables are fresh and delicious. Voted Southside's best restaurant in Savannah at least 5 times, and large corporate parties are welcome. Tell them Bill Edwards sent you. Drop by and eat today. Everybody loves sweet potatoes.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Glad to have you aboard on this Tuesday morning, 13th day of June. I'd like to report that this is coming out of the Pentagon that 22 U.S. service members injured on Sunday in northeast Syria in what calls a mishap involving a helicopter. According to military officials, the cause of the incident's under investigation. They said it did not have anything to do with enemy fire. Of course, you can't believe anything these people are telling you these days, but we'll see. But the service members had various degrees of injuries. 10 evacuated to healthcare facilities outside the region, which means that they were a little more serious than you just might expect. And military officials, by the way, in April, ordered a 24-hour stand-down after all aviation units after 2 deadly mid-air helicopter crashes within 30 days. So this continues to go on, and something, there ought to be some investigation about it. I hope we'll get to the bottom of it.
Yeah, hopefully we have some reporters over there.
And our prayers go to with those soldiers.
Yes, absolutely. Lizzie says it surely has something to do with the reduced training time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very well could.
Probably not wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Really quick before we get on to our next story with Kevin McCarthy, the Savannah Frontline Patriots will be celebrating Flag Day, and it's also President Trump's birthday, like we mentioned earlier. So they will be doing that at Forsyth Park. Stephen Harris statue from 5:30 to 7. So if you are feeling in the spirit, go to the Flag Day and President Trump's birthday celebration in Forsyth Park.
It's also the birthday of the U.S. Army.
There you go. Many things to celebrate on Wednesday.
My fellow soldiers, salute.
Yes. So Kevin McCarthy, we all know that I've had my criticisms of him.
Mm-hmm.
Still not happy about the debt ceiling. I probably will never stop talking about it, but I will say he has been
That's
better.
It's never ending.
Yeah, that's true. They just want to keep spending money. But I do think that Kevin McCarthy has been better than I had anticipated when it comes to pushing back. And we are getting a lot of this investigative stuff out there, which obviously is making people nervous when they're shutting down websites and, trying to censor everything, and also indicting a former president to try and distract everyone. So I do think that there is some positive things going on, but Kevin McCarthy took the CNN reporter to the cleaners, as we say here in the biz, and I think he did a really good job.
Yeah, let's see.
The idea of equal justice is not playing out here. And so that's a real concern to all Americans. So as a policymaker, elected officials, we want to make sure it's equal justice for all. We want to look at it as weaponization. Now, you're with CNN, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about this even further, because when somebody weaponizes government and they actually get removed from government, let's take Andrew McCabe, okay, former deputy.
But this is a different
let me
case.
let me answer the
This is a
question.
different set of circumstances, right? I mean, the former president is accused of misleading law enforcement, of a conspiracy of obstructing justice. That's a different set of facts. Are you prepared to defend him as the former president, and what other actions will the House take in the House Judiciary Committee in terms of funding?
Are you prepared to defend your network, CNN? I'm answering your question. You could ask me any question you want, but I'm entitled to answer the question, okay? You can't put words in my mouth. Even though your network can hire Andrew McCabe, who was fired from the FBI for leaking classified documents. Did you remove him from your network? No, you continue to put him on to give judgment against President Trump.
Speaker.
You also hire Clapper. Clapper has come out publicly,
Mr. Speaker,
and
what steps is the House going to take in terms of, is there any effort to defund the FBI, any effort to defund the Department of Justice after what you've seen over the last several days?
So your network hires Clapper, who literally lied to the American public, one of 51 other individuals that had briefings and used it politically to tell the American public that a laptop was Russia collusion, even though it had all this information about the Biden administration. Are you prepared to get rid of those people from your network? Because my concern as a policymaker is that when you weaponize government and now you're weaponizing networks, that is wrong. So we will take all of our power to make sure that the legal system in America gets the blinders back on and people are treated fairly. I have a real problem that your network actually pays people who did classified information and then lied to the American public to try to influence a presidential election, and then you put them on your network to give an opinion about a president, and I'm answering your
But you're not answering what
oh,
the-
very clearly,
what the
because
House
what
is
your
prepared
network
to
has
do.
done has weaponized at the same time. I think equal justice is important for all. Yes.
I thought he did a good job there. She was trying to bait him, and he did
Yeah.
not take it.
Yeah.
So
Keep going.
Yep. He actually has done a fairly decent job, I think, at dealing with a lot of the pushback that he's getting, because he is getting a lot of it
Ron
from both
DeSantis
sides.
is pretty
Yeah.
good at that too.
Yeah.
He was when he tipped that the communist broadcast system reporter that was on the 60 Minutes bill, and he shot her down. Have you read the law? It's the anti-gay bill. It's the Don't Say Gay bill. No, have you read it? Do you know what it says? You know who it applies to? And she was silent as the Sphinx on that one.
Of course she was. That's the thing. The reporters don't read anything. They just have talking points that they're trying to get them to agree with.
I love that group that sends out these phony news stories every year. They'll make up an organization. They'll make up official letterhead. But back in the old days of fax machines, they would fax these press releases to newsrooms, and they would see who covered it. And they would get this large amount of coverage. They'd have this big press conference to tell them, okay, you people have fallen for this again. You didn't do your research. There's no such organization. There's no such company. There are no such people, and yet you're doing a news story on it. So that gives you an idea how they're doing their homework these days.
Yeah, they definitely aren't. And Steve Stanton says no one is above the two-tiered equal justice system of law.
Unless you're a Democrat.
Yeah. And then sadly, the 51 people that signed, majority Republicans. Correct. And then Mary says, go McCarthy, equal justice under the law, stop weaponizing government and media. Yes, I think that there needs to be a mechanism for us to hold a lot of these media companies accountable, because they have gotten way too far outside the rails.
Believe me, I worked in a television newsroom for almost 30 years, and I was appalled at how little the people coming in graduating from major universities, and I'm talking about Florida State, Ohio State, University of Georgia, so on and so forth. The best educated students we ever had came from Georgia Southern. And I worked with some of those people up there, having done the Irk Russell show, their college football show for 10 years. And I saw how they educated their journalism students. They took them out to real events to cover real stories. They took them to sporting events. They took them to news events. And when we got Georgia Southern students in, they knew how to edit. They knew how to write a story. They knew how to cover a story. We had some others come in from other universities, didn't know which end of a camera to hold practically. You had to hold their hand for about 3 months just to show them how to edit.
Yeah, that's not good, Bill. I think we're seeing that across the board.
And the lack of, you should have seen the look on one of the reporters' faces when they were talking about separation of church and state. And I said, there is no separation of church and state in the Constitution. I said, what? I said, there's no separation of church and state in the Constitution. But quote it to me. Huh?
They'd never read the Constitution, I can assure you.
No,
I can assure you.
And then when I had to explain to one of the anchors who Adolf Hitler was one day, that really blew my mind. And this is over 20 years ago.
I was going to say, that was a long time ago. Now people don't even know how many states are in the United States. So that's been exciting and fun to watch.
Or how many senators there are, anything of that nature.
Yes.
I can see not knowing how many congressmen there are.
Yes.
But senators, that stays the same all the time.
Very interesting, Bill, to watch these young people and what they know and what they don't know.
Yeah, when Jesse Waters does that man on the street thing, it's funny, but you're laughing on the outside and crying on the inside when asking these kids, why do we celebrate Memorial Day? What's it all about? Or who we fight in the Revolutionary War? Germany? It's just, it's frightening. It really is.
It is very frightening. And Bill, so something good that is going on, I think that we're seeing a little bit more of the cultural revolution, if you will. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, comedy in the last, 5-10 years has not been funny.
It's deteriorated rapidly, yeah.
Yes. Well, there is a comedian who sold out his entire comedy show, his tour, and he is actually coming to Savannah, sold out his tickets. His name is Matt Rife. He is a little bit...
edgy?
Yes, but he makes fun of different cultural groups. Mm-hmm. I'm a very serious person, Bill, and he had me rolling on the floor. Like, I was laughing so hard, but it's because he made jokes to a guy that was wearing a turban about 9/11 and things like that, which, you would never hear.
Well, that's forbidden.
Yes. So he makes a lot of cultural jokes. Hilarious. No one is safe with him. Like I said, he's a little edgy, maybe a little bit. He's definitely maybe PG-13 R-rated type.
What I loved about Johnny Carson, by the way, a better night show host dead than anybody alive. But he skewered everybody. Now, I know he was a little left-leaning. I knew he was a Democrat, but he played it right down the middle on his monologues and everything else. Everybody got skewered.
Yeah, and maybe we'll play some clips if I can find any that are clean enough to play. But he's pretty funny. But he did sell out his whole tour, including his show in Savannah in October. Yeah. So really fun, exciting news. I'm excited to see a lot of these people.
You got a ticket?
I do not. There was 2,000 people ahead of me when I logged on. So okay. He is sold out. So if you have a ticket, I would love one. But he's...
Go in his press.
Oh, that's a good idea, Bill.
Yeah.
Look at Bill giving me all sorts of good ideas. We'll see if the Johnny Mercer Theater will allow me to go. But really, really fun stuff going on. And I think that we're going to see a lot more young people become more conservative because of what they've been through in 2020. So I'm here for it. I'm hoping 2024 people show up.
For sure. And we're going to keep showing up too. So stick around. We'll see you for the Hump Day edition tomorrow. Stay real.